Hello and welcome to Our House, a Lomond podcast where we talk a bit about property and a lot about people. From local legends to life-changing stories, we are here to discuss all things that make Ayrshire such a vibrant community. Speaking of local legends, I'm joined today by four estranged gentlemen, Craig and Joe, Lomond directors. How are you doing?
Doing really well.
Good, yeah.
Doing really well. Delighted to be here, as always.
Excellent. And I'm genuinely pleased to see that we're also joined by two gentlemen from Envoy Financial Services. We've got Ross Brenner and we've got Graham Hilly. So how are you guys doing? Thanks for coming.
Brilliant, thanks for the invite.
Yeah,
Really
thank you very
excited.
much for having us.
Excellent, great. So let's go and down. So first of all, guys, it would be great just to get a bit of a background on you two, a bit about what you do, a bit about your business. So for a layman who's coming in who's got no idea about your side of the industry, can you just break it down for us? Who are you and what do Envoy do?
Really good question.
Yeah, good.
You want
After
to? So, Envoy Financial, we set up the business now. That was April 2022. We've only aged to 20 years since we set it up, but yeah.
You don't look 19, to be fair.
That's not what my driver's license says, but so we set up the business in April 2022. Ross and I have both got huge experience in financial services, particularly estate agents related financial services. So Ross and I both worked together actually for one of the big corporates, and Envoy was really founded around about the idea of wanting to help clients in a better way. And we wanted to do the right thing for clients at all times. So for a really, really simple sense, Envoy Financial, there's a lot in the name. So a lot of people will say, why Envoy, or why did you call it Envoy? Most people aren't actually familiar with what an Envoy is. So originally, if you go back to the origins of a word, Envoy was somebody who you sent on your behalf, and what they would do is represent you in negotiations and act on your behalf. And that's what we do for clients. So somebody comes and speaks to us. Our job is to speak to them initially, find out what their options are for a mortgage, understand really three important points. How much can I borrow? How much deposit do I need? And ultimately, how much is it all going to cost per month? And thereafter, we then work with the client to get them approved. And then we help them with more than just the mortgage. So we help them with property negotiations. We help them with guidance on home reports. We joke about it, but it is true. We do everything but pack the boxes. So that client's in a position where they can buy that property with our guidance and move into a new home. So that's the kind of ethos of Envoy, and that's what we set out to do. So yeah.
I really like that. I think it's really important. A name tells you everything, doesn't it? And I think when you get the name so right, that's half the battle.
100%. It was 50-50 between that and Max Power mortgages, but we went.
that was my
Mortgages
idea.
are us.
I think, was it engine oil? We thought it sounded like engine oil. But it actually took us a while to come up with the name.
There was a lot to it, but it's because we wanted to put so much into it, because I know it's in the name, but that is our ethos. We want to do everything for a client, and we wanted to kind of convey that. So that's where Envoy comes from, and that's why our strapline is on your behalf, because that is literally anybody that works in the business. So when we originally set up, it was just Ross and I, and the people we've brought into the business, we've been very careful about that over the last 4 years, because everybody has to embody that ethos, because that's how we act for clients from start to finish.
Who's taking credit for coming up with the name?
Graham.
Yeah, it was me.
It pains me. And
So Graham does everything.
and
What is it you do, Ross?
And he made his self-employee number one. I wasn't happy about as well.
I did do
Even
that.
although I would argue
Employee of
Brenner
the-
should be first before Hilly.
Employee of the month every month since you opened.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's a
that type of
disgrace.
guy.
I know.
I work with one of them as well.
He is HR, so if he's got a complaint, he can speak to himself.
Why
about
is
it.
it I get HR, compliance, complaints?
Complaints.
We don't get any of them, so don't worry about it.
Not since we got rid of her. And obviously, when the two of yous were little guys growing up, was it the dream to work in financial services? Tell us a little bit about your journey, what you started off doing, a wee bit about the background of the two magic men.
Well, I actually done accountancy. I was always good with numbers, like numbers. Done accountancy at university, but knew quite quickly that accountancy wasn't going to be my thing. So got the degree, absolutely fine. Then it was like, I need to go and get a job. So it's like, at that point, it was just get any job. So anything that had a headline of graduate role, I just applied for it. So I ended up working for a gas utility infrastructure company in East Kilbride. And I worked there for maybe about 4 years. Then they decided to go down a different route and it was made redundant. But as part of that process, I had to speak to my independent financial advisor who was dealing with my pension. So it came up in conversation about what I wanted to do in the future. And I said financial services was always something I'd considered. So anyway, cut a long story short, they invited me in, stayed with them for about 18 months, got my mortgage qualification, and before I knew it, I was qualified to give mortgage advice, and I was then truly in financial services. So it's always been something that I'd wanted to do, but I kind of stumbled into it in the end to a certain degree. And then from there, got the opportunity with one of the big corporate estate agents to be a mortgage broker there. And as they say, the rest is history. That was 2006. And I actually blame me for the crash. I don't know if you remember the crash of 100% mortgages.
You're writing too many.
Yeah. Right. So I finally got into financial services, very contented. Yeah. Then boom, the market crashes.
Same as Lomond, more or less opened the doors just as that happened. So yeah, same thing. So you're to blame.
100%. Like, just as you're getting in the flow of things and you think you're doing well.
Yeah, I think, though, the important thing about all of that round the table here is you've got about four property professionals that have come through that. Both our business and what you guys have done have come through a market that a lot of buyers nowadays still don't even really know what happened then, because they were probably 10 at that time. In 2006 they were maybe 10 years old, and they had no idea what happened between 2008 and 2014, which was the low point. So they just think this market is the normal market. So when things settle a little bit and things become a little bit tougher, and they come to sell what was their first house, they've got no idea whether if things get a little bit tough. So having people around the table that have come through that have experience of that is so important than appointing an estate agent that's been in business for 3 years that doesn't know any other market than the post-COVID market.
You even think of, since that date, you've had the Liz Truss mini budget, you've had COVID, you've had lots of things.
It's funny how we said before the podcast started, let's not mention COVID or Liz Truss. How long is that?
Can we mention fixed rate? No, not to mention that either.
But it is important because people need good advice, and good advice comes from experienced professionals. And I think that's what we all are. That's what we're proud of 100%. Being.
And you think as well, because we've seen it a lot when rates started to start with a 5, and there was even some starting with a 6. There was a lot of, particularly first-time buyers, that maybe heard from mum and dad, well, maybe you shouldn't be buying just now, or now's not the right time. But the message we were conveying at that point in time is, obviously we don't have a crystal ball, but rates were likely to come back down, and you can still secure a property without necessarily at that time paying the crazy premium that you had to pay. Yep. And then over time you'll then be in a property that hopefully will increase in value, and your rate will navigate back down. So we see it now with clients maybe 2-3 years into their fixed rate that are coming to the end of their deal. Their monthly payments are now dropping significantly, but they've still got the house. So that's why taking guidance in good times and in bad is important, because you can kind of foresee things better.
And you guys will know better than us, but when you actually look at the property market in general, yes, there's always peaks and there's kind of drop-offs, but over a sustained period of time, it always does well, doesn't it? No matter 100%. At what point, you need to be really unlucky to have not done okay out of property.
That's what they say. Nothing is safe as houses. That's where that comes from.
If you look at a gradual growth over a 10-year period, yes, there might be ups and downs, but in general, it's do pretty well.
So you guys offer services obviously not just at the start of the process. I know it's was different from the estate agent side of things. You guys are kind of there throughout for when they're renewing and everything. So tell us a wee bit about that. Like, what's your guys' ongoing role with clients, like, as after you have secured them the mortgage or whatever?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So we'll deal with that client at outset, and the key priority at that stage is typically to help them find a house and get them into the house, and we get the mortgage. But thereafter, it's kind of lifetime journey. So they'll go into our database, and we'll monitor those clients. So it's important that when their fixed rates come into an end, they look at their options probably 6 months in advance, so we can see, well, what happens, what your existing lender will offer you to tie back in, and what a new lender would offer you to move. What's the gap between the two? And is the juice worth the squeeze? Will we bother moving, or will we stay where we are? But it's really, really important, because that will also help the client save money. But probably actually more importantly and relevant for you guys as well is a lot of times when they come to an end of the fixed rate, there's that natural, been in the house now 2 years, see that small bedroom that we thought was going to be okay, actually it's not, maybe had another baby, and they're wanting to reassess their plans. And then that's why working in partnership with you guys is so important, because we need to bring you back in at that point and say, right, bought this property for 220, what's it worth now? I was tapping the table, I was warned, and I've tapped
it's okay, it's okay.
What's that property worth now? It was 220. What's it going to be worth now? And what does the house cost to make them for their new move? Is that 350 house? Is that doable? So we help clients work out, should I stay in the current property or should I move? And that's why working in partnership with estate agents like yourself is so valuable.
I think, sorry, just to add to that as well, we deal with a lot of first-time buyers, give a lot of guidance to first-time buyers, very much around all the mortgage products that are available, the different repayment strategies, different lenders, criteria, etc. You've got all the insurances that go alongside that. The buying process in general, a big part of what we do is it's not just the mortgage and insurances and helping with a solicitor. It's, right, you see a property, you really, really like it. What do you do next? That point where you've outviewed a property at 2 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, I really like it. It must be so overwhelming for first-time buyers. Who do they speak to? They speak to parents, they speak to friends. And with all due respect, they've maybe been through it before, but it was years ago, they don't understand the market. So a big part of what we do is guide them through that journey, get them in a position where they're not only mortgage ready, but they're property ready. And that's where we place a lot of value in our home buying service. So it's not just us being mortgage brokers and source you the best deal. It's been that one point of contact that controls the whole thing. But if you think of that profile client who starts the journey with us, the brilliant thing for us as a business is we see those customers going through their own life journey. So in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, when they do maybe have a child, and what, as you alluded to earlier, it's we're in a one-bedroom flat, the kids getting bigger, we need to move. So to answer your question, we see the customers going through that journey, and there's nothing more exciting and rewarding than seeing people going through the different stages of their life, and we help them with that. We help them with that. So help them navigate that.
Just on that though, on the flip side to that, that's the exciting side of moving, and we get that as well. Clients that have bought through us as first-time buyers that then come to sell because they want to upgrade, because like you said, they've had a child or whatever, and they've outgrown the property they're in, and that natural progression is to go from the 1-stroke 2-bed flat to maybe a 3-bed semi or something, along those lines, or even to a 4-bed detached or whatever. But there's also must be the other side, and that must be quite prominent now, where you've got people who maybe bought early 2020, 2021, low interest rates, low mortgage borrowing costs. Do you see yourself now dealing with people in this sort of, not their old age downsizing, but more in their kind of 40s or maybe late 40s, actually downsizing sooner because maybe there's an affordability issue there, which maybe isn't the exciting side of moving, but it's more the sort of, they rely on you then to support them through that more difficult period.
100%. And we didn't see a huge amount of it because of the timeline when we started. Rates were starting to rise, so a lot of our clients at that point were buying with the higher rates. But we do get inquiries from people who are in unfortunately difficult situations. But we talk about it, you mentioned it earlier on, your home is an asset, and a lot of times there's significant equity in people's properties, and very often if they've maybe picked up credit cards or loans or whatever it is, that can be causing a financial burden. So sometimes moving allows them to release that equity and start again to a certain degree. Yes, it might be in a smaller property, it might be in a comparable size property, we don't know, but allowing them to have that option of, right, if I sell for this and I can pay off X, Y, and Z, what will my new monthly payments look like? So
and that's really important. I think that's where the Max Power Mortgages superhero side comes in. That there's always a solution.
I knew we should have gone with Max Power.
There must always be a solution.
Superheroes with capes.
Caps.
But there are cap rates.
And a lot of people
say that again.
And a lot of people maybe don't understand that they've got equity because they maybe don't really know what their house is worth or what they've paid deposit wise. And again, we get a lot of those inquiries from clients looking to possibly downsize earlier than they maybe would, possibly 5-10 years earlier than they naturally would look to downsize, because the mortgage costs or the it could be the council tax has gone up, or there's something else in there that, and they just don't know where to go. And but coming to us in connection with you guys, it's a one-stop shop. It's everything's there. We can help with everything. We can find that solution, whatever that is. Is it moving? Is it remortgaging? Is it easing some tension somewhere else? We can find that solution for them.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. I think when you speak to any client, if they're looking at making an upward move or even downsizing, what's really, really important is, one, you understand the value of the property. So getting professionals like you guys out, giving an indication of the marketability of the property, the sales price of the property, but that going hand in hand with us speaking to them about the costs involved in the move, because there is a lot of costs involved in the move, isn't it? There's a lot of figures. What's the implications if we just talk about mortgages? Is there early repayment charges, etc., etc.? So
see the early repayment side of it. It's astonishing the number of people we speak to who don't know that side of it.
100%.
You know,
LBGT, stamp duty. It's a bit of a, I don't know if it's a controversial opinion or not, but I often think there's estate agents there that make a point about they don't deal with financial services. That isn't the right thing by your clients, because ultimately financial services is involved and mortgages are involved in your move. So if an estate agent isn't helping you with that side of things, they're not looking after you in the right way, because they're leaving you to go and work out those numbers, which ultimately might be wrong. Whereas if they're put in touch with us, we can educate them on those numbers, and ultimately, as you said, find a solution for the clients. How do we move about the pieces to make sure that they can make that move happen and facilitate it? And also as well, I'm on my high horse now, sorry. Also as well, see, for first time buyers, there's so many things that are available for first time buyers. Banks do a lot of great stuff, but the problem is banks don't tell the clients about this, because 98% of mortgages are, well, maybe not 98, but a big chunk of mortgages are done through brokers. So it's us that are there to educate clients on that. You've got first time buyers, you can buy a house with zero deposit. Period. Most people don't realise that, but there's 100% mortgages available. Nobody's picking up the phone to tell these clients that. So engaging with a broker, whether it's us or anybody else, hopefully us, but we'll be able to educate you on those points.
So you mentioned there the concept of a 100% mortgage. Like, that sounds like, that sounds too good to be true. How can that exist? So what are the pros and cons of going for that option? Yeah,
so it's available for renters. So it's Skipton who are the lender that does it. And if you've been renting for a period of time, they potentially can get you 100% based off of, well, they've been paying rent for this period of time, the rental figure is X. As long as that rental figure versus the mortgage isn't too high of a difference by a certain cover ratio, then we can get them 100%. Now, yes, it's a 5-year fix. Yes, the interest rate will be higher than what it would be if you weren't. But to caveat that, what's the cost of keeping renting? So if you're paying £1,500 a month, that's money into the bin to a certain degree, because you're financing somebody else's. So yes, you will have to deal with a higher rate, but also that asset should go up in value over time as well.
Gets you on the ladder sooner, so therefore you the option to remortgage or to move becomes that finishing line's far closer than it would be if you hadn't. But
100%.
We've all come across those clients that can clearly afford a mortgage but just simply don't have the deposit.
It's hard to save nowadays. You look at the cost of things. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And there's also, there's lenders that are, I think you'll see a lot of innovation in lenders' criteria this year. There's only so much they're going to be able to do with rates, but they all have an appetite to lend. So if they can't do much with rates, what they'll do is with criteria. So we just seen a lender today that has announced with a 2% deposit, so 98% loan to value. You've had another couple of lenders do that last year in Accord, etc. as well. And what a lot of lenders are doing now is tweaking affordability for first-time buyers. So Nationwide were probably the first that I can think of to do it, who now do 6 times income for first-time buyers potentially. Yeah. The difference that makes for a client is massive.
Do you know what's really important about that is it's difficult because obviously financial services have certain regulations and what you can do in terms of advertising, etc., etc. But the key thing is ask a question. Speak to a broker as soon as possible. Yeah. If you're engaged with an estate agent, ask for a recommendation, because what is the perception of what you need as a deposit for a... if you were to ask 10 people in the street,
what do they think?
Is it 10%? Is it 15%? Is it 20%?
Depends what age that person is.
They'll give you different answers as well. So I think the key thing is ask the question. Plus, what we do a lot of the time is somebody might not be in a position to do something right here, right now, but then it's about put a plan in place, whether that maybe be their credit profile, maybe their deposit, whatever it might be, who knows. But it's about putting a strategy in place to be able to get them buying that property at some point in the future. But Graham's completely right. There's been lots of innovation in products. We see a lot of lenders are wanting to lend on properties that are more energy efficient.
Yep.
So that's been a big movement in the last, I would say, 12 months, 24 months. So there's incentives you get with that in terms of increased borrowing capacity, which kind of makes sense. If you think you're buying an energy efficient property, it'll cost you less to run that property. So why not pass that over in terms of affordability, cashback products, etc., etc.
I think that's all really interesting for us as an estate agency, and do you know why? Clients will ask us regularly, what can we do to enhance the value of the house, and they're automatically thinking, do I replace the carpets, do I replace the bathroom, the kitchen? But actually these renewables are probably the way to go. A, there's grants for them, and B, they will enhance the saleability, because the property will become so much more appealing in the market, because it could be, there could be lenders out there that are prepared to lend more, therefore it opens it up to a bigger buyer pool. And I think, that sort of info that you guys can pass on to us as the agents is really important, and why we need to be seen. We need to be working with professionals in the financial services sector, because we can then pass that down across our database of sellers as well. And we act for sellers, so we need to give them the best advice. So whilst we've got a really good client base of sellers looking to sell either on the market now or in the future, we also act for buyers, and that's where you guys come into it as well. So sharing that information is so vital.
Yeah, 100%.
Think new build, how are you finding new build just now? Because if you look at Kilmarnock in general, I suppose Ayrshire in general, there's a lot of new build going on at the moment, isn't it?
Do you know, I think this is official now that Kilmarnock's the biggest town in Ayrshire, which it was always Ayr. Ayr was always the biggest town. I think there's maybe 60-something thousand live in Kilmarnock. That might need to be verified. But I'm pretty sure with all the new build and the development that's come into the town, and you go and chap doors around Kilmarnock, you'll find a lot of people either aren't from here or haven't, I've just done a valuation this afternoon, and the couple came from Newton Mearns to the South Craigs development 22 years ago, because there was literally about 100,000 of a difference in the price of the house. There's not that now, right enough, because prices in Kilmarnock have risen. Newton Mearns, obviously, there's always going to be a divide between what you can get there for your money. But but across Ayrshire itself is growing dramatically. Irvin's seen loads of development lately. That's something that you're quite heavily involved in.
There's a lot of demand for new builds. When we speak to first-time buyers, you mentioned EPCs, and they're now more important than ever. Days gone by, a lot of buyers wouldn't even look at the EPC, whereas now it seems to be, right, well, what's the energy rating on it? Because there's a drive, particularly in the younger generation, to have clean, energy efficient homes, and that's what they want. And that's why I think new build is a really attractive space. We're seeing a lot of uptick in first time buyers because we're quite heavily involved in new build.
I've I'm recently selling my property. Used your guys' amazing services to help me secure my new one.
Property.
What is I'll be a 5-star review. Those guys across the road. I know. But I thought that was really interesting, and you talked me through a few different options that were available. And there's obviously things that are useful about going with a new build. There's certain assists and sort of grants and stuff that they can help contribute. But something that I didn't realise that would be good for maybe any one of you to explain is when you're buying a new build, you're not necessarily getting the whole complete picture as the base package, are you? Because that was something that I had no idea about. Like, it doesn't come with certain things, it does come with other things. So what are some things to consider for people if they're thinking, oh, new build sounds like a great idea, they're going to contribute 5% of the deposit, we'll just be able to move straight in, it's brand new. But it's not as simple as that, is it?
It depends on the development, it depends on the builder. So some properties will come with different profiles of stuff like turf and appliances and flooring, etc. So there's not a kind of set answer as to what plot has what. It will very much depend on what that builder's offering. But in the new build space, a lot of builders are doing deposit contributions. Did I get a wee buzz? So
the song.
I know that will get the outtakes. No, but a lot of builders are making a deposit contribution. Yeah, do you want to? I've lost my point now.
You were saying do.
Yeah. You do no.
do. But the deposit contribution is massive because that does help people move, and that will enhance the affordability. But I think the big thing for first-time buyers, I'm back on track now, is you're not having to pay above home report. So if you're looking at a property, whether you're a first-time buyer or home mover, the 200 house doesn't cost 200, it costs 210, 220, and that 20 needs to come from your own resources plus your deposit. Whereas new build, it's fixed price, so the price is the price. And I think particularly for people that have maybe been looking at properties, missing out on closing dates, it's a space they should explore. And what I would encourage anybody to do is go and speak to the builder, because they were very good at telling you what they'll do, because ultimately they want to help people buy homes and they've got great products. So yeah, it's a really good space.
Do you know, I've got a quick story on that, because I had a client last year that bought a new build from us. We obviously work alongside the mainstream house builders doing a lot of their part exchange assisted moves, but we also act for smaller builders that don't have an on-site sales staff. You know, they need our resource to market their properties and get their buyers. We had a client bought one of our new builds from us and paid 20,000 extra for extras. So where you would go to the resale market and buy a resale property and pay 20,000 over home report and get no added value for that, he paid an extra 20,000 and got solid stone worktops. He got the tiling upgrade in the bathroom. He got bifold doors put in. So he got a lot more added value for his extras than if he was just paying 10% over home report. So there is an argument there for new build. For sure, but some people don't like new build. They like maybe an older style period property,
isn't it? Maybe proportions, etc. But
established areas.
Obviously, I'm from the town, and it's amazing to hear that it's probably the biggest town in Ayrshire.
We might need to verify that. We might need to verify that.
Guys that might not be come down.
But the good thing in general is it's good for the area, isn't it?
Let us know in the comments.
That's right.
Like and share.
I'm just saying Ayr into meltdown. Remember Ayr, the town we're trying to apply for to become a city?
Yeah.
I think there's a good chance Kilmarnock will become a city way
So what's
before
the
Ayr.
criteria though?
We need
Tell me what the criteria is.
There's a cathedral.
Do you know?
Yeah, it has to have a cathedral.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is it right?
That's why Paisley.
It has to have a cost. No.
That's a cost.
It's got to have a Lomond.
I think
A
with
Max
the
Power Mortgage Centre. Envoy.
with the levelling up grant that Kilmarnock got allocated from the UK government, I think it's £20 million. They're redeveloping the Grand Hall and making it into a concert venue. That's going to be phenomenal. They're talking about a sort of botanic garden out the back, and I think these things are all geared towards putting Kilmarnock back on the map. I went out to an appointment yesterday, and an older couple, and they said, we want to move out of Kilmarnock because there's nothing in Kilmarnock. And I was thinking, I'm not from Kilmarnock. I've lived here for 24 years. I've lived longer in Kilmarnock than I lived in Troon, which is where I was brought up. So this is home. But for someone to say there's nothing in Kilmarnock, I'm thinking, well, there's loads in Kilmarnock. There's loads. It might not have been 10, 15 years ago.
I'm not accepting that.
No.
Did they know that Nando's has just opened?
Exactly, Nando's.
The only one in Ayrshire.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
This
there's
is the place to be.
There's so place to be shut down a while ago.
What about the place to be too?
I've got no idea what you're talking about.
But
It's Kilmarnock's equivalent of the OP. Graham.
yeah, but we've got a Premier League football team. We've got
For now. I'm a Kelly fan, I can say that.
yeah, we've got
Controversial.
we've got lots and lots of youth clubs for kids, football clubs coming out your ears. We've got gymnastics clubs. We've got the tennis club. We've got two tennis clubs effectively.
We've got the El Garage as well.
So the garage. I actually went to the
Dean
garage.
Castle, the jewel of the town.
Yes, I went to. Well, absolutely. We do quite a lot of filming up at the Dean Castle because it is an iconic landmark in Kilmarnock, in Ayrshire. But talking of the garage, I went to the garage on Monday night. It was Jamie's birthday, last week. Jamie's birthday, and so underrated, that place. It's so underrated in terms of you've got the go-karting, you've got now the mini golf.
Mini golf's good as well.
Yeah, you've got a golf simulator now, which I had a go on. You've got the bowling alley, obviously, that's been there for however many years.
Plus, I think they've just up.
It's like
And
the,
they've just
updated
done
the
a bar and
nightclub.
stuff.
it's like the envoy of the nightclub world. It's everything under one roof.
Have you gone to the nightclub after this?
And going back to the rear finds, it also has a Wimpy.
It also has a Wimpy, which
Name me another town in Scotland that has a Wimpy.
that's why Kilmarnock should be a city.
You've got the answer to that, don't you?
No,
Oh, no, you don't.
It's a question, it's a historical question. Yeah, I don't think there is, by the
So
way.
I think it's very easy for locals in Ayrshire towns, Ayr, Prestwick even, and Irvine, to be, to be so negative towards your town because of what's gone on in the past, where credit where it's due. I think, there is money going into these areas and they are upcoming. Yes, we still have problems, and yes, there are still issues, societal issues probably, but there are so many reasons to buy property in Kilmarnock, Irvine, Prestwick, Troon, area.
I think it's been self-deprecating to a fault, isn't it? Everyone's automatic thing is to say, I'll put it down before someone else gets in, and that's just a thing that we've been ingrained in doing. And I was the same for it at school, because everyone would slag you off if you were for Galston or Halford or whatever, you know what I mean? It was like everyone's got their own negative connotation about their own place, and I do think that that's shifted now in Kilmarnock. I feel like all of us have a personal responsibility to try and up the reputation of our own towns where we live, and it's only going to happen through us not perpetuating these negative ideas to folk that are younger than us.
Yeah, Prestwick's a great example of that.
Yeah.
Prestwick's overtaken Troon now, in my opinion, in terms of being a sort of
nightlife.
I think so. I think Prestwick, as a town in Ayrshire, again, is a bit, offers so much to the public, but it's now seen as being the epicentre of Ayrshire. If you want to, be seen to be moving into the higher echelons, you move to Prestwick.
Yeah, and the prices reflect that now.
They do reflect that, yeah.
You're seeing it go up and up, but to your point, I see, we deal with a lot of people on the south side because that's where we're based, but there is a lot of people now that are moving away from the idea of the south side and moving further afield down to Ayrshire because they can get a lot more space and a lot more for their money, so they can buy the same style of house. It's going to be significantly cheaper, or what most people do is they buy the same value but they get a hell of a lot more for their money. So, and you've got green, you've got space, you're not closed in, so there's a lot to go in for it.
Sea air as well, which makes you live longer.
What we have always said is, you can be in Silverburn in 15-20 minutes.
Yeah.
You can be down at the beach in 15-20 minutes. And you quite rightly said, you get Troon, Prestwick, you can be down towards Turnberry. We're very lucky, and I think you're completely right, Matthew. I don't think Kilmarnock's any different to any other town in Scotland. It's got its challenges, but you've got to think about all the good things within the town, and I would extend that to Ayrshire in general. I think we're very lucky in the area that we're in quality housing and lots of new build. And I think what would just very briefly in the new build thing, major house builders are investing in Ayrshire. That's where they're building their houses. So they're not doing that if they don't believe that the buyers are there.
It's a good place to live.
There's money to be made, yeah, of course. The other thing about Ayrshire, I think, again, I had a conversation with a client the other day, and I worked in the south side for a short space of time, maybe a year and a half, and the general feeling around Glasgow is, and you're guilty of this, is that to get to the Shire is out in the sticks. It's like miles away. And I was home to Kilmarnock from the south side quicker than the guy went to Hamilton. Yeah. And I'm like, so you think Hamilton and on the sort of suburbs of Glasgow, and Hamilton or East Kilbride even see themselves as being Glaswegians or from Glasgow. I was home before them.
Yeah.
Graham was shocked that they had a Tesco. When he first visited Kilmarnock, the infrastructure and everything here, it's amazing. I was like, what did you think was going to happen?
Get that edited out.
Farms and cows just wandering the street.
Prestwick had a Summerfields until not that long ago.
Yeah.
What's a Summerfields?
I was going to look up what a Wimpy was later, but
you had a Wimpy. You didn't have a Wimpy.
It's
it's a great burger. Great burger. Yes, that McDonald's, but much more upmarket.
Much more expensive. I think that's all really good information. I think it's so true. Like I remember being a first time buyer not that long ago. Like we bought our first place 5 years ago, and it's like you say, it's where do you start? But I think to be able to, the first thing that you would do is you think, okay, you're looking at a estate agent's window. You maybe folk are doing that less and less now because it's all online. But you're looking at what's available and you're speaking to them. But then knowing that you're not then having to go away and think, okay, and now what do I need to do? I need to go and find the financial. You're getting.
Can I ask you a question? Your first time buyer when you bought your property 5 years ago, now moving, what's harder, being a first time buyer or being a first time mover?
Well, we've not had to do the move yet. I think the first time buyer was more stressful.
I saw you cry 3 times last week.
Yeah, I know. They were all joy.
But do you know why I was asking that is because there's a lot of moving parts. There's what we're doing with the current mortgage on the current property. There's what we're doing with the new mortgage. How do we move that from A to B? What are the costs involved? So I think whether you're a first-time buyer or a first-time mover, or whether you've not moved for a while, taking guidance is the important thing. And
absolutely,
I think, because we see it, there's a natural hesitance, I think, with people when they engage with estate agents to maybe go, oh no, I've got my mortgage sorted, or oh no, I'm speaking to somebody. And it's not necessarily because they are, it's because they don't necessarily want to have the conversation. But I would encourage anybody that's made it this far, you're obviously interested if you've made it this far, but speak to the estate agent's advisor, speak to as many people as you can, because the worst possible outcome from that is they're going to tell you you've already got the best scenario that you've got, and the best possible outcome is they're going to save you time and money. So there shouldn't be a barrier to a conversation, particularly if it's credit. Don't feel nervous about it. Credit shouldn't be a barrier to a conversation. Your scenario shouldn't prohibit you from engaging and getting the best possible advice. So for anybody that's listening, do that.
I think there definitely is a stigma for those who have never done it before, like of they're worried that they're going to go in and there's going to be a sharky estate agent and they're going to come in and
I would have looked at Joe.
You know what I mean? That they're going to go in and they're maybe they've never done it before.
I stopped wearing a tie for that reason. Try to be more approachable.
Your shark tie. And they don't know. And then when they're saying, "Oh, we'll put you in touch with our financial team," they're just thinking, "There's more money." And it's hard if you're not in the industry, if you've not done it before. Then it does take a while to build up that trust, and you need to go through it. So, but I
think there's a piece there. I think there's a piece there about education. So, for example, obviously we've got a close working relationship with Lomond, and it's great. We've helped so many clients. It's phenomenal. But a lot of those clients have actually bought through other estate agents. That's really, really important.
How dare they?
Sorry.
It happens from time to time. Exactly.
You need to just get all the properties on the market.
Well, we're getting there. We're getting close.
So it doesn't really matter. We just care about helping the client, get them the right property, give them the right guidance, and I think that's it. Yeah. Plus, there's no cost to speaking to us. If that
well, that's the thing that a lot of people I think don't know.
You're completely right.
They don't know that.
Are they going to get an invoice?
Exactly. Is this a consultancy fee?
Are they committed to something? So to chat through options, to chat through what deposits are required, to chat somebody through the moving process and all the moving parts, costs nothing to review, to get a decision in principle, costs nothing. And as I touched on earlier, we've got a great working relationship with Lomond. We care about the property that the client buys. That's the most important thing, and we'll guide them through that.
And so, how do you guys go about? Obviously these two are out on the front line trying to drum up business. How is it for you guys? You aren't out there visiting houses trying to get folk to sign up to your financial services. So how do you go about that side of things?
Yeah, so the majority of our clients are referred through independent estate agents like yourself. So we get across a name and a number, and it's as simple as that. And then we engage with that client, pick up the phone, and see how we can best help them. Unfortunately, now we're also in a situation we've done a really good job for a lot of clients. We've literally helped thousands upon thousands of clients move home. So because we've done a great job, our clients are good enough that they say, well, actually, Ross did do a really good job. I mean, that never happens for Ross, but it did do a really good job. So they pass the details across, and then we'll then pick up the phone and help. We also work with a large independent house builder, and they're past clients across, so we help them as well. And other than that, a lot of clients will just return naturally because they're in a time where it's now time, had the baby, and they now want to move to a bigger property, or as you touched on earlier on, their situations have changed and how can they reassess their options. So that's where the bulk of our clients will come from.
There's a lot of similarities between you guys and us, where success breeds success. So when you do a good job for a client, they tend to come back to you, or they tend to tell all their pals or whoever. We saw it just recently on a social media post. There was a lot of people commenting, about recommending Lomond. I would go to Lomond. There was someone actually, someone on social media who used to work in the estate agency, not with Lomond, who then said, if you're selling, I would recommend you go to Lomond. So the more you do well for clients, the more you will just naturally, you'll gain from that. And I think that's why we're so passionate about doing a good job for our clients, because we know if we do a good job for them. It's not about, you know, what fee we charge a client for selling their house. It's about them then going in and telling everybody that we made the journey really straightforward and stress-free for them, and that will then, you know, help us to grow our business and to become, you know, the number one in Ayrshire, which is our goal.
When you do the right things for clients, as you said, success breeds success, because they articulate to people how you help them, and they want that the same. Now, if anybody's listening and look at our reviews, you'll very rarely see somebody say, oh, Ross got me or Graham got me the best 2-year fixed rate mortgage that there was. Yes, we do that, but that's not what they value. They value the guidance we've given them, they value the support we've given them. They value the way that we've taken away the stress and just said, right, you focus on that and let me deal with that. And that's ultimately where a broker can help. So, as you said, you do the right things for the client, you look after them the right way, and ultimately that leads to people recommending your services. There's
another really important thing for us where you guys come in. You're crucial to what we're trying to do, and when we're selling a property, there's lots of risk. There's lots of things that can happen that can prevent that sale from going through. I would say very high on that list is that the buyer cannot get the mortgage together that they hope to get to fund the move. So a big part of what you guys do for us, and it's really, really important, is that you'll help the buyers, which protects our sales. Our client is our number one. Our seller is the number one. We need the buyer to enable the sale to go through, but the seller is number one. We need to make sure that we protect that sale at all costs. You guys do a great job in that in terms of qualifying the buyer. So where someone comes to us and views a property and says, I love it, I want to offer, we need to know, what have you done about the mortgage? I've not done anything. Right, we've got the guys that can help you with that. If you want to proceed with an offer, we need to know that that's going to be fine. And then, you know, a very quick conversation, you guys can literally just tell us that buyer's qualified, good to go, we're going to deal with it for them, or they're qualified, good to go, dealing with Nationwide Direct, or they've got another broker they've spoken to that they're dealing with, but we've qualified them. Again, we can then give that information to the seller and help them make the informed decision on which is the best offer to go with. 100%. And that's why, touch wood, our falling through sale rate is exceptionally low. Because I would say 90% of sales that fall through because of finance. Yeah, and that's why you see, if we are speaking to a buyer, whether they're buying through you or whether they're buying through any agent, we put them in a position where they're we call it mortgage and property ready prior to them offering on anything. Because the worst thing in the world is if a client gets their heart set on something and the numbers don't stack up and it doesn't happen for them. We've never had that, because we have an honest conversation about their affordability and what they can do. Yeah. But that's the key thing about taking guidance. See, if you spoke to 20 different lenders, all 20 of them will give you a different lending amount with the exact same set of figures. So our job as a broker is to guide the client on which lender is right for them based on what they're looking to do. And, you know, for anybody that's listening, if you've spoken to one lender and been told, no, you can only borrow X amount, the reality of that could be completely different with another lender. So that's why it's important you take guidance from somebody that can answer those queries.
And I think it's a great point. It's got to be as early as possible.
Yeah.
The earlier we speak to a client, the better, because there's a perception that, just wait to see the property first. Yeah. Then what I'll do is I'll get things sorted and usually see it. I mean, the market is buoyant just now. Yeah. I don't know, what's the average time that you've got a property on the market?
11 days or something. 11, 12 days.
Yes, a couple of weeks. That's you've not got time to be thinking about, right, what's my monthly mortgage payments going to be? Can I get that loan amount? What's the deposits going to be? You've got to know right at the start. So the thought of, I'll wait to see the property first, if you've got that mentality, you'll lose the property. You cannot. We've got to get somebody good to go, because again, going back to what I touched on earlier, you see a property on a Saturday afternoon, you really like it. Our job at Envoy is to get you in a buying position for that Monday morning at 9 o'clock when that estate agent opens. We're on the phone, because see, if you're not, somebody else is. And see people that are dealing with a bank, dealing with other brokers that don't have that home buying support.
Phone the bank,
property.
They can get you an appointment.
It's gone.
2 weeks on Tuesday.
It's gone.
Do you know what I think is an interesting point though? And we see it. I think there's a nervousness around first-time buyers, probably in particular, that see when they're engaging with an estate agent, maybe they don't want to have a conversation with us potentially or anyone else, because they think that if they pick up the phone to you and say, look, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. I don't know about home reports. I don't know about offers over. I just don't know. I think a lot of buyers will think, oh no, I won't get out to see the house, or they're going to tell me, no, I'm not going out to view it. But it's actually okay if they tell you that, because then you can help them, and whether they speak to us or whether they just speak to you guys, you'll give them the guidance that they need in relation to home reports and offers over in the market and how it works. So I think that's a really important point for buyers. It's okay to not know what you're doing. You're not meant to. That's where everybody around this table is here to help you.
There must be an emotional side to it. I know, obviously, I think from the general public, they'll just think if it's some big conglomerate, financial services company, they're just thinking of speaking to a robot at the end of the phone. But for you guys, it's you that are there. Do you know what I mean? And this goes to you too as well. You must have a certain emotional investment in all of your clients, probably some more than others. But how do you deal with that? Because buying a house and going through the whole process, I know it's it's everything to you. Do you know what I mean? It's the biggest thing in your life, and if you don't get it, then it's a real low.
Yeah, we're lucky, really lucky in the job, and I would say everybody around this table, we're really lucky to work in an industry and an environment that's typically really positive. We talk about changing people's lives and making dreams come true. That's actually what we do. I know it's really, really cheesy, but that is actually what we do with our experience and our expertise. And look, what we do is also stressful, because people are trusting us.
Says Ross, age 21.
So they're trusting you guys to get the best price for the property, but they're trusting us to help them with that buying process. They're trusting us to get them the very best mortgage deal, give them professional advice. But there's nothing more rewarding when you get that 5-star review, or you get that photo of the keys. Just a thank you. I mean, you've had clients on the phone in tears, so happy. And I do like to try and, when I've managed to get a deal done for a client, I always like to maybe tell one of the people involved, and they then get the pleasure of telling the other person. And it's brilliant. It has its moments, but we are really, really lucky. We work in a great environment with great people, and we take care of our clients and we help them. I mean, how many times do people move in a lifetime? What's the stat, 3 or 4 times?
Must be
just part of that. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that we do differently from most other brokers is we are available near enough 24/7. So whether it's 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night and the client's got a question that they want answered, they don't want to wait till tomorrow morning because it's keeping them up at night. It's never about what 2-year fixed rate they're getting. I said fixed rate. It's about,
trust.
Well, actually, if I pay this for that property, what does that leave me? How much money do I have? And working out the mechanics. So how we try and help clients be calm during their move is be available to them at all times, near enough.
Can I just that's so important. And again, when we talk about Lomond, and obviously you guys are on here, part of the Our House Lomond podcast, there's a reason why you guys are here, and we don't just partner with anybody. We are very driven. We're absolutely client focused at Lomond. We always want to do best by our client, and we are also, Joe and I particularly, we're 24/7. We live it, we breathe it. So aligning us with businesses like yourself is so important, and because any client that we pass, we want to make sure we're passing them on to someone who we would personally use. Now, Ross, you do a lot for me, you do a lot for my family. I wouldn't go anywhere else than you guys. I'm not just saying that because you're sitting here next to me and Graham, you're bigger than me, but it's so important that when we're putting a client across, it's the same with solicitors. We need to make sure that these are businesses that are aligned to our values, 100%. Because it's as you said, Ross, it's a 3 times a lifetime process, and that for us is super important.
It's a trust, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the feeling's the exact same. Whenever we've got clients that are looking at making that move, when you think of Lomond and how, what I always say is how you guys profile properties is phenomenal. How it's marketed. Every deal being right move, etc. But your social media is fantastic. Photos are great, videos. I love the Pac-Man one recently.
Time to Pac-Man.
It's so good, really, really good. And I think those things are the difference between getting people through the front door and not getting through the front door.
I think it's starting to try to sort of subvert that idea, that stereotype of what an estate agent is. The big bad wolf that's in there to try and come and fleece you, and it's trying to sort of bring a much more human element, and I think it does make us more approachable.
Definitely, and I think that what I'm trying to say there about the whole 24/7 thing, and the fact that Joe and I live it, breathe it, you guys live it, breathe it, is that we work hard for clients. We work tirelessly for clients. We go above and beyond. The videos. we could sack the videos tomorrow, but we chase
Please don't.
we could. Do you know what? We could.
He's got a new house to pay for.
we could stop doing our videos tomorrow, and we would still be an estate agent doing the same as what every other estate agent does. We want to be different. We want to push the boundaries. We want to work hard. We want to be seen to be doing more for our clients, because we're chasing those millions of hits on social, millions of hits online. Because the more people that view our socials, the more people that view our Rightmove page, the more people that view our web page, our Google hits are absolutely through the roof. That's buyers seeing our sellers' properties. That is so important. So when people say all estate agents are the same, they absolutely 100% are not. I think all estate agents do a good job, bar maybe a very small minority. We do an outstanding job. What we do is outstanding, and I think you guys are in that bracket as well. There's a lot of really good financial advisors out there, and we work with a lot of them. Where they'll contact us, and we'll do deals with them as well as we do with you guys. But what you guys do is above and beyond, and it aligns with what we do.
We say that to clients all the time. So it's good that they spoke to other people, and I would never discourage one of our clients to not speak to somebody else. Yeah. And there's a lot of good businesses out there, but I can confidently say there's nobody that will go further for a client than what we do. There's nobody that will put more commitment into making sure that their move happens. It's more than just the mortgage. We care about every single client like it's our move, and that's the way that you guys sell property. So that's why it works so well.
No, I think it's all true, and I think it really comes across to everyone. That the amount of people that I've spoken to since I've started working here that just wax lyrical about Lomond, and folk that I've met. Like I know folk that work at Domino's that are delivering and choose feel like they've met a celebrity. Do you know what I mean? It's like
because he's ordering too many Domino's.
Wait, didn't tip very well, though, did you? But no, I really think that is.
He actually double looked at me when I opened the door, and he looked at me. Like that sort of thing, and I thought I'd done something wrong.
The Lomond guys, it's not like the cheesecake guy. You're the Lomond guy.
I don't know, but
pepperoni guy.
I thought I feel really bad. Right?
Over the road,
I feel really bad because he looked at me twice when I took the pizzas off, and I said thanks very much, but I didn't give him a tip because I didn't have any cash, and I felt terrible because I always tip, and
so
I didn't.
If you are
and I
listening,
thought,
Mr. Domino driver.
Yeah, so listen, I'm really sorry. I'm going to get a tip wired his way for sure because I felt terrible. But I thought he was looking at me because I didn't give him a tip, as if to say, that guy's awful stingy. But actually it turned out that he's one of Matt's pals, and he realised he was delivering to me whatever. Yeah.
Did you give him an autograph? Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Do you get stalked? Do you get accosted?
All the time.
Same to you, Joe, as well.
There's
I'm
a
not as
guy.
famous as Craig, though.
You what?
I'm not as famous as Craig.
Do you not think so?
Yeah.
A lot of people ask me when's my dad going back on the telly again.
Well, you are from Trim.
That's true. Funnily enough, there's a guy walks by the Kilmarnock window, and he never used to say anything. I mean, I feel for him. He's a bit of a poor soul, but now every time I walk out my office, if he's there and he's a wee bit kind of grubby, he'll always shout, "Hi, Craig!" And it's because it says Craig on the screen. He now knows who I am, and I'm like, so again, I feel bad. I feel I have to help him out, but
I think it's because you've got a name badge on. Is it not? You know what about? My name is
Mr.
Craig.
Signature. No, people do stop me all the time, more often than I would like to admit, but they always say, well, why did
I know I was going to say.
they always say, but you know what? It shows it works. It shows it works. I want people when they think about when it is that one or two times in their lifetime that they think I need to sell a house, they know where to go. They go to Joe, they go to Craig, they go to us, and then we'll help them look after them. And that's why we do it. Yeah, we do it to shine a light on a client's property because that's so important to get views, to get people seeing the house. But yeah, we want them to see us, and the girls are getting on the camera as well, and we want to encourage more of our team to get on the camera because again, when it comes to people doing anything relating to property, we want them to think Lomond, we want them to think, Craig, Joe,
It's funny, I'm actively trying to discourage Ross from going on the camera.
on the subject of filming and cameras, I'll tell you a really funny story. So, over Christmas, we can always edit it. Over Christmas, down playing local golf club, bumped into a guy I haven't seen for ages. Turns out he's been away touring Australia, and that's why he hasn't been playing golf, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he proceeds to tell me that he'd been out in Prestwick for a few beers, shall we say. We'll leave it at that. So he's obviously come out from the pub, walking by the Prestwick office, and for those of you not familiar with the Prestwick office, there's two screens. There's a landscape screen and there's a portrait screen. Portrait screen quite often has a video involving something that I've been doing, signature video, working with charity, whatever it is. But it's quite lifelike because it's almost at street level. So this guy's come out from the pub and had a full-blown conversation almost with himself going, there's Joe Gilligan, God, I've not seen him for ages. To which, obviously, as he got closer, realises that
he's standing chatting to a screen.
So...
It was you, wasn't it?
That's my moment of fame. I wasn't actually just hanging about the Facebook office over Christmas.
We've had this discussion before about doing more on social and more on videos, but do you know the problem that we've got is subject matter around about mortgages isn't anywhere near as exciting as what you guys do, because it doesn't have that visual to resonate with, and there's not a way that we can kind of bring that message out. Cause
just get a Pac-Man machine in your office.
That's actually true.
Sorry, Graham, I fell asleep there. What were you saying?
But, you know, we say all the
Talk to him
time,
about tracker breaks.
clients by and large aren't interested in the mortgage, they're interested in the house. We're a vehicle to make it happen, but the thing is, there's a lot that we can do. It's just how we get that message out there.
The things like these really help, and it's great. And see, just go back to, I know you mentioned about the advertising thing. I think what you've got at Lomond just now is you'll probably have people that are not really actively looking for property, but they'll see your videos because you do a wee bit different. They just, what's Craig up to today? What's Joe doing, etc., etc. And you never know. Somebody just looking at that might go, well, you know what, that would actually suit my son.
Happens all the time. Happens all the time.
Yeah, 100%.
We get it. We get a lot of referrals that way. People tag their friends in the Facebook posts, or they share it to somebody, and then someone will phone us up when they see a coming soon, a sneak peek video. We don't do them all the time. If there's a big gap between the photos and video being taken and the home report being done, we can't physically market it, but we can do a sneak peek, and we get people all the time contacting us. Oh, see, you've got such and such coming on in such and such a location. Can you tell me about it? And it could be that they're doom scrolling on their phone, and
I think another thing there, and purely because it's relevant, one of the appointments I was at this morning, when we put something on to your Right Moves and Zooplas of the world, once they're on, that's them kind of on. They can't really change them that much. You can change the price, of course, but that's kind of the last thing you want to do. So, you're very much relying on social media to be able to, get it out there and rinse and repeat it. And the coming soons, I think, are so powerful. I did one the other day and was able to show a client this morning. There's 24,000 views already.
Was that the press one?
Yeah, and I think there's, last time I looked, 3 or 4 or 5 viewers already booked for a house that isn't even on the market yet. So, people shop on your Right Moves and Zooplas of the world, and they're great websites, and undoubtedly couldn't do without them. But a lot of people, one of the parameters they'll set will just say 24 hours only. I only want to see what come on today because I looked 20 times yesterday for my new house. So you've almost got that sort of, dare I say it, 24 hours to try and capture people's attention on these sites. So what we're doing across socials is so important.
Yeah, and I think that, I'm not saying it'll happen anytime soon, but I think if we do it right, and I think if agencies do it right, then there is an argument to say that you could potentially sell a property on social without the property portals with the right move. Now, the argument there is, are you actually maximising it? Are you putting it in front of the biggest audience? And that's why it's not going to happen anytime soon. But fast forward 20 years ago, Rightmove didn't exist. There was no Zoopla, there was no property portals, so fast forward 10 years, will Rightmove exist? It might be a sort of very small window, and there might be other ways of selling. Well, Gumtree, look at Gumtree. Yeah. When was the last time someone was on Gumtree? Facebook Marketplace has taken over from Gumtree. Yeah. So,
well, if you think of the evolution in estate agency, wasn't that long ago where you didn't have a desktop unit? The property would be advertised.
A phone and a Rolodex.
Maybe you used to get the brochure as well. For the
a what?
A brochure.
A brochure.
You get brochures.
Schedule of particulars.
Is it a schedule or a schedule?
Schedule.
And you even
depends
answered
if
that,
you're
Graham.
James Bond or not.
Oh dear.
Well, he's got a brochure, so obviously he's going to have a schedule.
I just want the street state to who would answer that first.
Answer in the comments, is it a schedule or a schedule?
Schedule. Miss Moneypenny.
Ross, you were saying.
So it's moved on so much, so you're actually right. So if you think of like the Kilmarnock Standard, the Ayrshire Post, and people would come
Wednesday night.
I remember those well.
That wasn't that long
Do you know
ago.
that was how you found out as an estate agent whether someone liked you or not? You got the Wednesday night, 6 o'clock, up to the garage, pick up the Ayrshire Post, Kilmarnock Standard, and you flick to the property section and you go, oh no, they've gone with whoever agent. Didn't happen often to me, obviously, but that's how you found out if someone wanted to use you to sell their house.
As in, so you've maybe been out to do a viewing and then
evaluation,
and then you don't find out until you see it in the paper they've listed it with
another
agency.
Maybe phoned them back and said, what's happening? Are you coming on the market? And they've said, oh, I'm not really sure yet. And then the Wednesday night it's on the market with Joe Blogg's agency, and you're like, wow, how did that happen? Why did they not like me? And then you take it very personally, but it could be And again, as I say, it didn't happen to me that often. Still doesn't.
You said that one too many times now.
But it could be that
Believe you.
Promotional video has been sponsored by.
I'm having a breakdown. So it could be that they've bought through that agency, or there's another reason they know somebody, or they might just have thought, you know what, that other agency's more suited to them than what we were. But that was how you found out. There was no Rightmove. Now you get Rightmove alerts every day to your email. That's how you found out if someone doesn't like you or not. And
Luckily, you've let it go now.
I've let it go. Yeah. I've stopped following them around.
I've kind of morbidly kept my alerts on for properties that are coming up that fit my search criteria.
Can't do that.
No.
Can't get in my way.
No, I'm doing it on purpose because I look at it and I'm like,
That's rubbish in comparison.
So what happens if you see another one that comes on now? You won't.
I'll never.
won't,
I
you cannot
won't. Nothing.
compare.
In my head, the house that we've got is perfect, and I'll never be swayed from it. I'm so delighted.
I think that's natural, and I think
You
that's.
sort it out.
I think that is natural. I
Nothing
think,
you're doing, not.
I think most buyers are like that though. Once they've committed to buy, it doesn't matter what you put in front of them. Nothing will compare to the one that they've committed to because that's their house now. You know, you've almost moved in before you've actually physically moved in.
Well, we get a lot of clients that miss out on properties just through various different things. Could be restricted with deposits, etc. I always say it to a client, look, I know you're disappointed. We move on, we'll get to the next one. And I've never had a situation where somebody said, oh, I really like this property, but see that one we missed out on before, I actually never happened.
No, you end up moving on.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're basically counsellors as well for these people, aren't you? Because you're having to talk them down and talk them up. Like, what?
Them or me and Craig.
It's the truth.
We'll sometimes get a message from a client like a couple of weeks after they move in. It's like, oh, what broadband provider do you think I should go with? I'm like,
Because it's really important.
But that's how you know you've done a good job, because they feel like they can ask you anything that they want, and that's, although it can be frustrating because you're thinking it's like 9 o'clock on a Friday night, I'm not going to start looking at broadband deals, but it shows the relationship they've built with you. They feel they should ask that.
And I think we do a lot through WhatsApp. So typically when we speak to a client the very first time, tell them about what we're going to do differently, how we can support them, etc. And part of the next steps is we set up a WhatsApp group chat. So the whole point to that is they can get direct access through to one of the consultants who can give them guidance 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which is brilliant. But you're completely right. I remember a client not so long ago, they'd moved in and I think there was a problem with like their dishwasher or something. It's like, what do you think I should do with this? And do you know what it is, Matthew? It's because they've spent maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 months being so close and trying to take them in that journey that the client's probably lost track.
That's brilliant though.
I know it is.
You're now friends.
It is. Instead it's a situation they've kind of lost kind of reality.
Sending you pints pictures.
So what did you say to them out of interest?
He went round and fixed it.
Check the fuse.
That's another part of what we do at Envoy Financial, dishwasher services.
Envoy Total Care, max power.
Max power.
But, do you know, see, one thing we've not spoke about from an Envoy perspective is, although, you know, it's Ross and I, the two directors of the business, we've got some phenomenal brokers that work with us. And, you know, I think now we're 14 strong now, and we've got a team of 10 brokers. And look, everybody that works as part of the business, every single member of staff is exceptional at what they do. So as much as it's me and Ross sitting here having a chat with you guys, there's so many people that make the difference for those clients, whether it's the girls in sales support that are helping out with, you know, the application stuff, whether it's the brokers at the front end. So we're very, very fortunate to work with some phenomenal advisors, and everybody in our business is the same kind of ethos that we do.
You should get a brochure made up about that.
What would you say, brochure?
Schedule.
Schedule of particulars.
Schedule. Building a schedule.
I struggle with that one. It's like, I can't say coupon either. I would say coupon.
Right, guys, listen. That's all been really. That is time out. But that's been really, really useful stuff. I think there's a lot of really important information in there. So just to any of the listeners, any of the viewers, how can they get in touch with you? What avenues they're going down, and who should be reaching out to you guys?
Great.
30 seconds, go.
Yeah, just everybody. Anybody that's looking at moving.
If you need your dishwasher fixed.
First time buyers, home movers. We've not even touched on people that are looking at investing in property. We can help them with that as well. So by all means contact Lomond, they'll pass on the details, and we can absolutely we help the client out, and as I touched on earlier, don't need to buy through Lomond, doesn't cost you anything for a conversation, so really, what have you got to lose? So we'd encourage MD to reach out to us, ask the question, let us give the person the information, and then they can take that information and decide what they want to do thereafter.
3 big things. How much can I borrow? How much deposit do I need? And ultimately, how much is it all going to cost me per month? See, once you understand that, you'll be in a position to buy a house. And that's where we come in.
Excellent. Listen, guys, thanks so much for
Thank you
all
so
of your
much,
help.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been great having you here.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. Thanks for the invite.
Until the next time, yeah. I mean, you could literally talk for hours about property and financials and stuff. You know, just we haven't even touched on it.
Probably even touched on
I mean, touched the biscuit off. Yeah, thanks very much, guys.
Yeah, I appreciate your time. Thanks very much for coming in. And yeah, we'll be back next time with more information, more guests, and more fun people to talk to. So yeah, thanks very much, guys.
Cheers. Cheers.
There we go. All right. Hey!
Well done, guys.
Brilliant. Cheers, guys.
All right.